So you want some ancient knowledge? How about wisdom that's tens of thousands of years old? This is not a self-help book that was published 10 years ago. Some say these 7 laws that you're gonna learn govern the entire universe. We're going over 7 Harmaic principles from the Kybalion. The principles of truth are 7. He who knows these understandingly possesses the magic key. Before those we touch, all the doors of the temple fly open. The wisdom in this book comes from what is called the Emerald Tablets. These date back to over 36,000 years BC. The date, not before COVID. The Emerald Tablets were written by the Egyptian god Thoth, also known as the Atlantean. Ancient Greece later called him Hermes. For thousands of years, these were passed down through symbolism and word of mouth. So what's actually in the Kybalion? Let's dive in and go a little deeper together. A good place to start is actually the intro, in which it says, "When the ears of the student are ready to hear, then cometh the lips to fill with the wisdom." So what that is actually saying is that these 7 principles, you're in a position of life, of self-growth, to where you're actually ready for the wisdom and ready to hear them. So congratulations. Principle number 1, the principle of mentalism. The all is mind, the universe is mental. That's not just something your British friend says. The universe is mental, man. Unpacking it, there's 3 realms: the physical, the mental, and the spiritual. Each one of those realms has its own observable laws, meaning when you're on the lower planes, the mental and the physical, sometimes understanding that spiritual realm can be hard to comprehend. There's some things we just can't comprehend on this level of existence. That's why it's called faith. Principle number 2, the principle of correspondence. As above, so below. As below, so above. When you look at life, it creates in patterns. Trees have roots that go down. They take in CO2. We have lungs that go up. We breathe out CO2, we take in oxygen. The flower of life, the Fibonacci spiral, the solar system versus an atom, the Helix Nebula versus the eye, a galaxy versus a hurricane. Creation, nature seems to mimic a pattern. Building on this, you can't travel within, standing still without. Basically meaning that as you start to do some of this inner work, and learn more and peel back layers and go deeper within yourself, as above, so below, you get to these deeper layers, it's gonna start changing the way you operate and go through life. Your personality creates your personal reality. And this is why we talk so much about shifting and creating that ideal version of you that's already within you. You just have to shed off the layers, the baggage, the limiting beliefs, the ex-girlfriends who told you you couldn't, you weren't good enough, the parents, the teachers, all the programming. You start shedding the layers off, getting to that true core of who you are. Principle number 3, the principle of vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. If I hold up this rock right now, what would you, is this vibrating? What the heck, Clark? No, this thing is solid as can be. It's literally solid as a rock. Zoomed in at the smallest quantum level, these particles are vibrating. Building on this, Nikola Tesla said that if you want to know the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Vibration is a term that gets, in my opinion, overused. Raising your vibe. There's a vibe about this person. But knowing that everything does have a vibration, it's not too far off. It's not just a hippie Whole Foods saying that someone's gonna come up to you and tell you, everything's energy, man. Building on this even more, you can actually apply this to emotions. What they find is that energies like love, peace, belonging, higher ones, they're called higher emotional states because they carry a higher vibrational charge with them. Versus you have lower ones, fear, anger, shame, guilt, pride. They have a lower vibration. That's why when you feel happier, you feel more energetic, don't you? Versus if you've ever been low and like depressed and just out of it, right? You don't feel like you're having a lot of energy. You're not vibrating. Hermeticism knew about raising your vibe tens of thousands of years ago, which brings us into principle number 4, the principle of polarity. I'll give you the first part of this and then we'll talk about the second part of this, number 4. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Everything has an opposite, polarity. Night and day, up, down, east, west, male, female, on, off, hot, cold. Now it's a very dualistic understanding. There's good and evil, love and hate, fear and courage. And we want life to be so simple, but haven't you noticed that everything's sort of a spectrum? Given an example, you might think that hot and cold are polar opposites, literally polar opposites. If you go to a thermometer in your house, when does hot start becoming cold? Right? If they're opposites, if they're two different things, shouldn't there be a definite point at where it's no longer hot and it is cold? you can't really draw the line anywhere because it seems arbitrary if you're on one side or the other just by a little bit. That's not quite hot. That's not quite cold yet. The deeper understanding of that would say that hot and cold are on the same thing. They're really the same. Principle number 4 continues. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are but half-truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. Applying this to your personal life, maybe you've had an experience where you really, really loved someone. You were dating head over heels in love, and you thought they could do you no wrong. You thought they could not hurt you. Everything was great. You're on cloud 9. Then you break up and you start to say things like, I hate that person. That person really hurt me. What's going on there? Aren't those two different polar opposite emotions? That's because love and hate are the same emotion, only varying in degree. Personally, this is my favorite principle, so we'll spend a little extra time here relating this to manifesting that, you might be in a stage of your life of where you really want something, an opportunity, maybe you want to change, you want your life to be different than it is now, perhaps. I went through that too when I was building this YouTube channel. I was $30,000 in debt. I was in my mom's basement and I picked up a camera and I started writing videos. I wasn't getting any results. It was so disheartening. And yeah, you're not supposed to be attached to results, but damn, it kind of hurts when you see 5 views and you know that 3 of them are you and the other 2 are probably your mom. But I shifted my perspective and I knew that as soon as I was on the path of becoming a YouTuber who had over 800,000 subscribers, close to 1 million people watching, which is insane, every step on that path was the actual path. Every dollar you make on your journey to $1 million is you becoming a millionaire. Every relationship you're in is you finally working your way to finding the right person and finding love. Every job that doesn't work out is teaching you lessons that go and roll over into the next job. And so I knew if I could just stay on the path, even though it wasn't mine yet, the silver play button of 100,000 subscribers, YouTube sends you your award, I knew that every single video was on that path. And if I didn't give up, I would get there. To me, it changes the perspective on the journey and on lack, because you're really never lacking anything if you're on the path. Principle number 5, the principle of rhythm. Everything flows, out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. The rhythm compensates. Do this with me right now. Take a deep breath. Okay, go. Even your breath has a rhythm to it. You have an inhale, you pause, and you exhale. You could argue that when things don't have a rhythm to it, that's when it ceases to exist. That life force within you that keeps your heart beating, when you don't have that rhythm, what happens? You die. But you could even argue there that as soon as you die, you decompose and you give life to other things that do have the rhythm. So there's no stagnation. The whole universe is in a dance. It's an ongoing track that's been going for billions of years without a pause button. It's not like we can just hit pause and stop the whole show. It goes on with or without us. I always tell my metamorphic clients when I'm coaching, and it's natural to go through funks or feeling out of it, or maybe you describe it as depression, or you feeling low. Man, I just don't know how to get out of this. Another day, same thing, here we go. Life's a bitch, then you die. If you don't know what to do the opposite of what you feel. If you just take the word depression, what does that conjure up? You're depressing yourself. You're hunching over. You're breathing shallow. You're making yourself smaller. What is the opposite of depression? I don't think it's happiness, because I say this a lot, but there's so many things you could do that make you happy but not fulfilled. That's not lasting happiness. Like go blast off at the clubs, get drunk at 2 a.m. Technically you feel happy, but that's not what you want. That could exacerbate the problem because you're living on an extreme that's just going to come down with a hard crash. Opposite of depression is expression, expressing yourself. And then it's really, 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 really hard to feel that level of ick when you're fully expressing that inner 2.0 version of you that you have within. If you're feeling low energy, you're feeling tired, what's the opposite of that? Energized. How do you get energized? By being in motion. Go for a walk, drink water, eat healthy. Find that a lot of times that clears up the tiredness. Nothing's stagnant, everything has an opposite, and it's actually two sides of the same coin. Depression, expression, tired, energized. Find the opposite and do it. Self-help advice from 38,000 years ago. The principle of cause and effect. Every cause has its effect, and every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. There are many places of causation, but nothing escapes the law. You ever thought of someone and then the next day they call you? Really freaky. Or I see it all the time working and coaching closely with people. Literally week 2 of our Metamorphic program, we have people create what I call a manifesto. So this is where you design specifically the 2.0 version of you. People go in sometimes and like, well, I don't know who the 2.0 me is. You don't need to know the how it's gonna happen, how you're gonna get in a relationship, how you're gonna start that business, how you're gonna get clients, how you're gonna get in shape, how you're gonna move to a new city. You just gotta get really clear on the why and the what. Something magical, I hate to use that word, but it fits here, happens. There's a sort of alchemy. When you put your thoughts and desires and manifestations out into the universe, synchronicities show up. Clark, it's crazy. I wanted to change up my environment, and then all of a sudden I got a job offer in the dream city in London that I wanted to live in. I wrote that in my manifesto. Clark, I really wanted someone who was caring and supportive, a partner that I've never had. And I went on this awesome date, and now we're dating after week 5. And I see them post photos on their Facebook page and they're like traveling around Europe. These synchronicities show up time and time and time again when you just give yourself the permission to think greater than your current environment. But most people, they get so caught up in the past. I can't because I failed in the past. I can't because I don't have the resources. I can't because I have unsupportive people in my life. And it reinforces the narrative of why you can't. And so that becomes your reality. That's what you're reinforcing. Giving yourself just the space for 10 freaking minutes. That's all you got to really sit down and design your dream life and not just skip over it like it's some corny thing in a YouTube video that you've heard a million times. Okay, give me the new cutting edge, give me the new secret sauce. But have you ever done that? If you're looking at successful people that you admire and look up to, removing chance and luck from that, something that they did where they got super clear on the direction they wanted to go and they started acting and moving with it. That's the secret. If you want some help, you can apply for a free coaching call down below. Our Metamorphic program walks you through that whole process in 10 weeks, literally start to finish. It's the perfect roadmap. That's why we call it creating and shifting into the 2.0 version of you. There's one last principle, number 7, the principle of gender. Gender is in everything. Everything has a masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. Masculine and feminine energy goes way beyond just biological sex. There's men with a very feminine energy, and there's women with a very masculine energy. Expanding on this, even self-development, improving yourself, the advice out there, you can almost split it into 2 camps. Masculine camp, which will tell you, work your face off, hustle culture, be more productive, here's 50 hacks, ego-driven business type of advice. Anytime you're trying to like achieve something with a definite goal or quantifiable goal, that masculine energy works very well. But now, have you ever heard of people, the story that gets talked about, like I had it all and I still wasn't happy? Why is that a cliche in our society? Because we know that's not the whole battle. They're missing the whole feminine energy over here, which is the be here now. Exist in the now. The present moment is all there is. Haven't you heard that? So we got 2 polar camps here. These people are super into videos like this and chakras and law of attraction, manifestation. These people are super into the productivity, self-development, get off your ass, you crazy hippies, stop staring at crystals. Which one's better? There's a middle path. Knowing that you have 2 poles, you can tap into, hey, am I feeling more that I need to be in the now and enjoy the success over here that I have? You can start tapping into the feminine energy, which is what I did in my later 20s, now in my 30s. I realized, hey, I had so much masculine energy and that I actually got so much from learning and being open to more of these feminine approaches to life and being happy and enjoying things. Because again, the concept of polarity, these 2 paths are still the same thing. It's on the same spectrum, just 2 polar opposites. Which one of those 7 principles did you like the most? Post it in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Clark. Till next time, stop settling, start living. See ya.